if I ever have a shower rack that can hold my weight.
Podcast contains adult themes and language. It's not intended for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised. Now, here's your hosts, Kevin and Chris, with Todd, who has only one job.
It's time once again for another episode of Comin At Ya. Comin At Ya, a podcast about the world of mixed martial arts, boxing, pro wrestling, Comin At Ya, and heavy metal music, with a slice of comedy for good measure. Comin At Ya.
I like when you do that manually.
That was like professional quality right there.
I'm not clicking the volume here.
Professional grade.
A little bit more down. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Episode 213 of Comin At Ya Podcast. I am Christopher Scott. This is my good friend Kevin Honeycutt, a.k.a. Bullet. Tata Toddy.
Hello, hello.
On the audio visual. He's our AV guy. And he's got the hat, too. And this show is brought to us by Stitcher.
Smartest way to listen to radio on or off the radio, create custom playlists, downloads, or stream thousands of your favorite shows. Just smart radio. Smartest way to listen to radio.
Extreme Cage Combat 30.
Yeah, we're going to be there in February, man. I'm excited about
February 3rd, we're going to be at the Philadelphia Armory.
Can we get free tickets?
Yeah, who do we need tickets for?
I want to get tickets for my one friend. She watches a lot of MMA, and I told her I would try to get her some tickets.
All we got to do is send Ryan a note. But Saturday, February 3rd, we're going to be at the Philadelphia Armory. Doors open at 6 o'clock. Fights start at, I think, 7. And Bullet and I will be calling the fights. We'll also be
doing meet and greets in between fights.
Meet and greets in between if you want to come up and say hi. Tata Toddy may come with us finally, and he might be serving us beverages the whole time.
Can you please come? It would be kind of fun to see you there and hang out with you.
You got it, sir. What would you like? Coke?
No, I would just like to have you there.
I would like Todd to just like hold the microphone cables.
Because let me tell you about what it's like doing a show with this guy. He goes
amazing.
He puts his bags down and then he just disappears for a while.
Kind of like you do here.
So just here,
very similar.
Very similar. But here's the difference. Then Ryan will come up, the promoter, stressed out of his mind because he's got about 32 fires to put out.
Right.
And then I'll go solve some audio video stuff.
You know why he comes to you?
Because I'm the one that knows what to do.
Because he knows you're the help and I'm the talent.
Yeah.
He just leaves me alone. Right? He lets me get in the zone.
So then I look over.
In my fucking zone.
Chris is there eating a pretzel.
I haven't yet to eat a pretzel at one of those.
Looking in the mirror.
Actually, I have eaten a pretzel. I think you bought it, though.
I bought it, though.
Show is also brought to us by Philly Comedy Club. This Friday night, they have Paul Verzi from the NFL Network.
Papa Russ.
There's a show at 7:30 and 9:30. Get your discount tickets. Use the code CAYPOD for discount tickets for Philly Comedy Club. Also, they're also offering a ticket for the following week. The Eagles are in the Super Bowl, so he's got an Eagles code. Discount tickets. Still too loud.
I was fucking working on it.
If you're an Eagles fan, you can use the code and get a $9 ticket to get in. If you are a Patriots fan, tickets are $75.
Did you get the email he sent us?
I did, where he said the dude didn't like his picture.
No. The one before that.
No.
When he was like, thanks a lot, and this, that, next thing, and he's going to come back in.
Yeah, I did.
I appreciate it.
Russ is a good dude.
I like Russ.
So, if you like comedy clubs and you like having a good time, go to Philly Comedy Club. I think they're, second in market?
He was just on Fox 29.
I know. Russ is a good dude. We got to get him, again, he was fun, and he had some solid advice for you. Show's also brought to us by Resp Tattoo.
Yeah, he does a lot of tattooing.
And where can they find Resp Tattoo?
On the interwebs.
He is at the Keswick Tattoo.
Right next to Keswick Bicycle.
Right next to Keswick Bicycle. Also, Dads and Cargo Shorts. Dads and Cargo Shorts. Dave is also putting together a brand new website for us, which is going to be available next week.
Cheers.
He's going to come in and unveil it to us. It's going to have all our episodes on it and links to photographs and shows and upcoming events, all kinds of stuff. And now we can start the show, Bullet. Right? Are you with me?
Yeah. I'm waiting for Todd. Waiting for Todd to hit record.
Well, we're up on screen, so I'm
Oh,
pretty sure it's going on right
This
now.
is out on
That's
the.
from last week.
So I called Bullet yesterday. I'm like, hey, what are you up to, man? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not feeling right. I said, what are you gonna do about it? He's like, I think I'm gonna take a bath.
I took a bath for the first time in years.
And my first thought was, I don't fit in a bath, and you're about 6 inches taller than me, right?
Oh, I knew you were gonna go somewhere else with this. You
No, I didn't go there. I just said you're taller than me. If I can't fit in the tub, you can't fit in the tub.
Well, I bought this $50 cushion, and it helped a little.
What does the cushion do?
So your back's not all on the porcelain, so it helps your back and your spine, so you're comfortable.
I can't put my back on the spine. My lats are too
Well,
wide.
this is comfort. This is comfortable. And then what I did was I got Epsom salts to soak for muscle soaks, and then I got this thing was the gayest thing ever. It's a bath bomb for men, but they call it the man bomb.
Bath bomb?
A bath bomb.
What's a bath bomb?
It's just like a little globe, and you put it in, and it looks like a cauldron. It looks like witches.
Does smoke come out of it?
Everything but does. I got 6 of them for my kid, and they got toys in them. And then I got one for me.
What did you get out of yours? Is it like
It
special
smells
one?
like tobacco
It's like a small,
and manly
fake
smells.
vagina comes out of it.
No, I got that in my closet.
So let's go through the process here. Like,
I was like a basic bitch. If I still had long hair, I'd have my hair up in a towel.
so you're at what point did you decide you're in a bath? And I'm guessing you maybe decided a day or two before because you had to order all these ingredients off of Amazon.
Yeah.
So this is like a 3-day build up to the bath.
Yeah, so
at what point did you say taking a bath on Wednesday?
Because I wanted to get bath bombs for my son because oh shit, this is only hold on.
Just put it on a loop or whatever you can do.
That's what I'm going to try to do. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to get him bath bombs because he's afraid of my bathroom
Why is Cinnamon Jr. afraid of the bathroom?
because that's where my HVAC unit is, and he hears all this fucking noises, and he's like, no,
It's scary in there because it makes a lot of noise.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm good, dude. No, you can have fun with that.
Don't worry about that.
No, I got it. So basically what happened was he was like whenever the HVAC unit kicks on, if I have it like on a swing,
He freaks out a little bit.
well, he's just like, what's that noise? But I wanted to get him some bath bombs.
So when you're ordering him bath bombs, are you also deciding on your own bath bombs at the same time? Are they coming from the same place?
Yeah, so because what happened was I remember some friends of mine have always been telling me, yo, you should soak in Epsom salt, do like an Epsom salt soak for your foot and ankle and everything else. And I was like, you know what, all right. So I looked at it.
But you do realize they're talking about this is for your foot and ankle, not the whole.
No,
I've soaked my whole body in Epsom salts.
Yeah, so
I
in
thought
your
you didn't fit in
face.
the tub.
Yeah, in your face, you big fucking
I don't
banana.
fit all the way in the tub. My lats hang over and my biceps hang over.
Yeah. So in your face there, Billy Banana, with your yellow fucking sweatshirt.
So you buy the bath bombs, right? Like what kind did you get for your son? Like how long does it take you to pick out the bath bombs?
Oh, it was right there. It was for kids. It's got surprise toys in them.
Like what's the surprise toy?
I don't fucking know. I haven't used one yet.
Okay, so you're ordering bath bombs and you said, you know what? I could use some of these as well.
So I got one called the Man Bomb, and it smells like leather, oak, and tobacco.
What?
Yeah.
And what do you just throw it in there before you even get in?
I didn't use it yet. I used it with the Epsom salts.
So did you buy the Epsom salts in a bag or you
Yeah.
buy them in the milk container?
In a bag, and it smells like it's Epsom salts with eucalyptus and peppermint.
Oh, really
Yeah.
good for the skin.
Let me tell you something too, because the undercarriage was smelling not like eucalyptus or peppermint.
Prior to the bath, when's the last time you had showered?
The other day, I've been showering. Well, not really.
So you've been checking the undercarriage though.
You did a sniff test?
No.
Is it like, if you're doing a sniff test, are you going in the front, or you going in the back?
Honestly, you know what my gauge is? If I can,
There's a gauge.
I don't think I would ever go in the back.
the gauge is.
No, I wouldn't go in the back.
The
either.
gauge
if
is-
you do, it's on the other side of the underwear just to rub it and like, oh shit.
No,
Jesus Christ.
the gauge is if I can smell my balls sitting. Like if I'm sitting.
Are you nude for the test?
No, I was playing guitar and I was sitting on my couch and I'm like, I can smell my balls. It's time for a shot.
Like
That's
through
close one?
your clothes.
Through my clothes.
Yeah, you're not doing whatever you're doing.
You're
right?
missing all. You're dropping the ball big time. If you can smell your balls through your fucking pants.
I'm dropping the ball big time on a
So
lot of things.
if that's what you're doing, can I suggest something?
Sure.
A little baby powder down there.
Little talcum powder.
A little
Yeah,
talcum powder.
I know.
You freshen it up. Like man, like you just take care of it. So you get in the you put the hot hot water, super hot,
Scalding hot, like
scalding
melt-
hot, and then you pour. How much of the bag did you pour in?
no, just a good handful.
Just throw it in?
like it was Fuji dust, like it was Demolition winning the world title
But you
in
do know that
WrestleMania 4.
Hot water burn baby.
Hot water does burn, baby.
Hot water burn baby.
I know. I've
Hot
given
water
my kid a
burn baby.
bath. Yay!
So I've taken a bath with Epsom salt, so like when I'm really hurting,
I was really hurting.
and there's no real gauge to tell you how much water you actually have in the tub, and you just kind of just throw in a bunch of shit. So I pour a bunch in there, and then I hop in, and I'm sitting on all these granules, and they're just like sticking to your legs and fucking jamming in your ass and everything.
Oh, I thought you were doing
no,
it
I,
like,
I swirl it.
when they put a turkey in like a hot oven or the hot oil, and then
Just the tip of the dick.
Do you
Just
know-
the tip.
Do you know how you? No, you know how you do that? Because I've fried turkeys plenty of times. What they tell you to do,
They do it with water, put the lime.
and then you etch it, and that way you know.
Hey, how about not ruining the joke?
So
not a
are
joke,
you
it's what you
etching
do.
your tub to see if you're gonna get burned?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so you walk into the bathroom.
Yeah,
Right.
And I made a really strong drink, really cold.
Is there ice cubes?
Yeah, for this I wanted to do.
Is there
ice
a Bluetooth speaker set up? Because I suggested a Bluetooth speaker with a movie on the tablet.
I have a Bluetooth speaker for my shower, so I can rock out to my jams in my shower.
Okay.
What? So you can wax and put the speakers close?
No, well,
No, you're watching a movie on the
iPad.
on the iPad, and the sound is coming out of the speaker.
I didn't watch.
Huh?
I didn't watch a movie. I watched SummerSlam '93 with Yokozuna.
Okay, so but I mean, it's technically a movie. You're watching something on the tablet, right?
Yeah.
So you walk into the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
You pour the Epsom salts in.
Yep.
You set your tablet up. You set your speaker up. Turn the lights down.
No.
Full on lights.
Full on light, so
Okay.
I could see the disappointment.
You disrobe. At that moment, do you say, "Man, my balls really smell"?
No, it's just an overwhelming sense of
Is it
disappointment.
an odor or is it?
It's funk.
It's just a funk.
Think of like the first 3 James Brown albums, and maybe Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and you mix them all together,
Stuff them under your nuts,
put them in a gym locker in the summertime, and that's the funk.
and then you take that shit out of your car and throw it in your trunk for a day to bake.
It smells like Bigfoot's dick.
So you ease into the tub. Do you put the dead foot in first?
Yeah, no, because I can't support it. So I what I do is
You can't just stand on the one foot by itself.
You think that's funny?
No, I'm asking. I didn't know that.
It's dead.
I know it hurts you,
It's dead.
but I didn't realize you can't put your full weight on it by itself.
That is my Native American name now.
Is what is it?
Dead foot fat flea.
Dead foot flea. So you ease into the tub, right? Kind of settle in.
Yeah.
Did you put the bars on? The
Is
handicap bars?
No.
the problem I always have when I get in the bathtub and I'm doing the Epsom salts is for some reason I never have just enough water and like the tip of your dick just kind of floating there at the top, kind of
Yeah.
just like sticking out like an alligator, like the rest of it is submerged,
Yeah.
right? And you're looking down and you're like, I just gotta get a little more water in here.
It
People are
looks.
surprised online that you were talking about how funky your balls were.
Why are they
Oh,
surprised?
you know what? That's one of the things about our show is we're honest.
Why are they surprised? I work a physical job. Who was surprised?
Physical?
We like to share.
Physical?
I climb ladders all day.
It
asshole.
has to be a female because every dude's experienced it.
Exactly.
No, brother and Holly Stewart.
Okay, well, first of all, my brother's a Southern gentleman, so he doesn't talk about these kind of things.
Southern gentlemen don't get stinky.
Although, you know what?
balls.
My twin brother, for the first time,
Do the clap.
for the first
Dude,
time,
Claire, those are some stinky balls.
for the first time in 7 years, my twin brother listened to the show on Spotify, and I'm like, "Wow, what'd you think of it?" And he didn't answer.
He didn't even reply.
He didn't reply.
So you get in the tub, right? And you're looking down, and you see your junk kind of just floating around in there.
It was disappointing.
Is there any grooming you're doing while you're in there? Or you look at your balls and you think to yourself, like, I should probably trim these up a little bit.
Do you remember you ever see the Never-Ending Story?
Is that like your hair is never ending down there?
Well, no. Remember, like the turtle was like in the swamp.
Yes.
That's what it looked like.
Really?
No, no. I just
It's wrinkly and green.
No, I wasn't really that smelly. I mean, I was smelling, but I really I'm looking for alternatives to manage my pain.
But while you're managing your pain, right? You're soaking, right?
Yeah,
That's
soaked.
that's about the extent of managing the pain you
Well,
can do right there.
I want to look for alternatives to help, and I'll be honest. I don't know if it was a psychosomatic thing or if it was, but I definitely.
Did you feel soothed?
No, when you have a hard training session or a hard workout or maybe even like a roll or a fight, your legs feel a little bit rubbery.
A little wobbly.
That's how they felt.
While you're in the tub?
No. When I got out and I was walking around, they felt so relaxed.
You ever go roller skating?
The only
or ice skating, and then when you take the skates off, you still feel like you have them on?
Yeah, I know what you mean. The only thing that I could describe it with is kind of like gum, where sometimes the muscles get real hard. It's like chewing gum. You haven't.
How long were you in the tub?
For about a good 20-25 minutes.
That's it?
Yeah. That's all I needed.
Did you get a little wrinkly? Like the hands? And
yeah,
the feet?
that was the gauge. And I was really tired. I was starting to fall asleep. I don't want to pull a Whitney Houston. Although maybe that would be a good
I don't
way to
think
go.
there's any way you could have drowned it unless you had a shitload of water in there.
I did.
Like up to your neck?
Yeah.
Did you splash any all over the floor?
No, I had towels out. I was ready.
So you're looking down at yourself, and are you thinking, like, I need to do a little manscaping? Is any of that going on?
I only do that in the shower.
Like, do you do it, like, standing in the shower?
I'll do that in the shower, and then I'll put the one leg up like I'm Steve Harris and Iron Maiden with the monitor, like, I'm ready to rock!
Like, there's got to be embarrassing stuff.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Like, I'll manscape.
Like you're the front man of a heavy rock band, and you got the one leg on the monitor, so it's up.
You know what I'll do sometimes?
You know what I'm talking about.
I'll use, there's a product called Nads.
What?
Nads, which is like a hair remover. You put it on, and
No
like
way.
all the hair comes off.
No way.
Is it for guys?
Yeah, it's for dudes.
It's Nair
Right?
for your nuts.
It's Nair for your nuts. And sometimes I don't use it. I'll just go straight razor, right? But the razor never quite gets everything.
Wait a minute. You put...
Yeah.
Does it burn?
No, it doesn't.
Did you do a test patch?
I did a test patch, and I've done it many times. You leave it on for like 10 minutes, and then you rinse it off in the shower, and all the hair just comes off.
Nads? N-A-D-S?
Nads, N-A-D-S, which is exactly what you're using it on. So sometimes I'll use the razor, right? And it doesn't get close enough. So I'll use the Nads stuff like maybe once a week, every other week, right? That's exactly it, right? So I'll use that, and
Buying that right now.
Todd's looking it up too, and it's like baby smooth too when you're done.
Really?
That's perfect. But
Do you put it on your butthole?
no, but I get real close. I hit the taint.
So you're
Taint's
like...
not really hair anyway, but like right where the balls like kind of go in.
So if like City Hall is your butthole and Ben Franklin Parkway is your taint, you're doing Ben Franklin
First
Parkway.
part of Ben Franklin's getting hit.
All right, where all the flags are.
Where all the flags are. So sometimes I'll get the razor out, right? And you know, a couple days into using a razor, you still get a little bit of stubble, and you kind of miss spots and every time because you got to stretch your nuts out and kind of get the whole thing. So I do this weird thing where I take my flashlight on my phone, Todd, and I do this. Watch. I kick the light on. I turn the light off in the bathroom, and I flip it upside down, and I hold my nuts over it so I can see the shadow that hits where all the hairs are.
I love you, dude, for that.
It's beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah, and you can literally see every hair to get it. But the only problem with it, as you're shaving it, guess where the hairs go?
Right on the phone.
Right on the fucking phone. So then you got to clean the phone off.
And I touched that phone.
No, it's a different phone. Tom.
You're touching butthole hair.
But there's got to be some like just weird stuff you do when you're like when you get in there like.
Do you remember how old were you the first time when you shaved your balls?
I don't think I was until my mid-20s. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I remember.
30s?
I was dating. I dated the same girl from high school, college, and everything. And I remember the first time I did it, and I remember it was like an all-day thing. I lived at home at the time, and it was like a good 2-hour process in the shower.
Well, yeah, because you got to be careful. It's scary. It's very scary.
And here, I remember it. I remember she was like, "Did you shave your balls?" And I'm like, "No."
Just the hair fell off by itself.
Exactly. Like, no.
But I don't think I figured out manscaping until late 20s, maybe. And it never even occurred to me until somewhere around that time to make sure my asshole was clean all the time. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying your asshole's dirty, but you take a shit and you wipe your ass and then you get sweaty or whatever, and then hours later, sometimes there's that residual.
I take a shower every time I poopy.
No, you don't.
Bullshit.
I
Do you have a shower log?
No, but I took a duty today, and I got to enter it in the shit list right
But-
now. Hold on, that's a good idea.
We'll come back to the shit.
We'll come back to the shit list in a sec, because that's one of the topics as well. So just leave it for now.
You're not doing it right.
Yeah, so I didn't figure out that that's the kind of things you got to do if like you want to attract a woman. Like you got to make sure that everything's.
I don't think that you should ask any woman
Good and
to
clean.
do something that you're not willing to do.
Have you ever shaved somebody else's vagina for them?
No.
Would you?
No.
Why not?
I'm the kind of person that I don't even like my food touching on the plate unless it's peas and carrots. So why would I shave someone's vagina?
But you talk about how good you are at eating it all the time.
Yeah. Look,
So wouldn't that
You're not going to clean the plate off before you eat your food?
Be setting the table?
All I'm saying
That
is,
is setting the table.
if I go to the restaurant, I'm not going to
Forks on the right, knives on the left.
All I'm saying is, if I'm going to
Vagina
a
in the
restaurant,
middle.
if I go to Outback Steakhouse, I'm not going to go in the kitchen to cook the steak for me. Okay?
That steak's already on the plate. You're just cleaning up all the other stuff.
Now, listen, this falls under the banner of handle yo business, and this is strictly under the banner of yo business.
I think we had hit a soft spot here. Like, you
No.
wouldn't do that for somebody?
No.
Would you shave a woman's armpits for her?
No.
I remember I hooked up with a girl. She was super attractive when I was in my early 20s. She had one hairy nipple.
And
It was blonde hair. You couldn't see it. And then I
And
put
look,
it in my mouth. I was like,
I understand that I'm
what
no
the hell is that?
I understand that I'm no prize. I understand that.
Oh, that's bullshit.
You are prize. You don't talk about yourself like that.
But something that's really weird, if I see a chick and she's got really hairy forearms, it bothers me.
Really? How about a hairy lower back?
No.
That's fine?
I can't deal with that.
I think that would be fine if it's that peach fuzz.
I got to be
Yeah,
honest.
peach fuzz is fine.
I've grown up with unrealistic expectations of what a woman's hygiene should be. I understand that. I get that.
Do you think porn spoiled you?
Oh my God.
I think porn spoils a lot of people, guys and girls.
You know what? I mean, I'm just saying this. It's one of those things. Like I look at them, like hairy forearms. I don't like
Another
that.
one died?
Who?
Didn't
Another
one
porn
die?
star?
Yeah. Didn't she die this week?
Who?
I'll find it.
The one that gets me is a hairy upper lip.
Come
Can't
on,
deal with that.
You got to get rid of that.
Well, no. Like they shave it and then it's stubble. You ever kiss a girl, you can feel the
What
stubble?
do you think women think about like when they look at a guy and they're like, oh God, like a hairy
Oh,
back?
I guarantee there's all kinds of
Hairy
shit they
back
think.
for sure. And then I handle that. I've got the back shaver thing. I don't have any back hair.
Our buddy Dave from Dads and Cargo Shorts, we always say he has aggressive back hair.
I don't have any. I
It's
shave
aggressive.
it. I got this thing called the back blade.
Do girls get back hair? Like shoulder? Like there's got to be one out there somewhere.
Got to be.
Olivia Liu.
Never heard of her.
No, nobody
Never
knows
heard of her.
5 and 3 months.
Jesus Christ.
That's all right. You
The
know, it happens.
August aim thing still bothers me.
But have you ever hooked up with a girl with a hairy back?
I'm sure I have.
Hairy forms. How about like the girls that like to go all natural, where they like, you know, I'm not going to shave the armpit hair.
That's great. I ain't gonna go with them.
So you're not okay with it?
It's not a matter of okay. It's what I'm saying is it's just like, you know, I look at it like a buffet. I don't like seafood, so I ain't gonna go over to that side of the buffet. If you want to be all natural, do your thing, baby girl.
So
Bob
just
told you to text. Look at your text.
So do you take time to go through rituals to make sure you're appropriately ready for a female? Like when I go to bed, I got a whole. Is that your brother?
yeah, he's wearing.
I got a whole process that I go through before I go to bed. Right? Before I go to bed. No matter, even if I'm totally fucking shit-faced drunk and I can't even think straight, I still make sure I do all this stuff. So I go in the bathroom, brush my teeth, right? I floss,
Yeah.
right? I make sure I use a lotion on my face, right? Make sure I take my contacts out. Make sure I clean my butt crack and my balls just in case something's going to go down.
Do you pray at night?
I don't. But I have all these rituals to go to bed fresh, if that makes any sense.
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Do you have a different shower routine if you know something is going to go down?
No, it's always the same all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I
I try to be clean and proper always.
The only ritual that
Go
I
a step further. I usually go a step further.
What's your process, Todd? Yeah, like if you
Well, I don't
if you
have
know
one.
you're gonna watch Twilight and get busy.
I definitely spend a little extra time downstairs.
Normally, you don't really hit it that hard.
I hit it. I just don't hit it hard.
Now, when you say hit it hard, you're maintaining or you're shaping up.
No, I'm talking about
going high and tight.
No, I'm talking about when like how much time I spend cleaning.
It sounds like you're half-assing it, literally. So if you don't think you're getting any action from the missus, right?
Uh-huh.
How much time you spend down there? It's just a quick hit.
It's enough.
It's just enough.
It's enough.
Like enough to make you feel fresh when you get out of the shower, or it's just.
Can I just ask you a question?
Yes, but not like.
But if you know you're getting business, you're digging in.
Remember,
Like you're getting inside the a-hole. Like you're like, oh man, you got to get in. there.
remember now and laters. Remember the candies, like when you peel the wrapper off, but
Yeah,
sometimes the
I love
wrapper,
those.
part of the wrapper sticks to it. and you're like, fuck it, I'm eating it anyway. Do you think girls feel the same way when they're like, it's kind of hairy, but fuck it, I'm going to eat it anyway? The balls.
What are they?
Oh, the balls?
Yeah.
I would guess. I mean, you get all kinds.
So that's your ritual every night?
Balls are like snowflakes, I would guess.
My ritual every night is simple.
One of my good friends, I'm not going to say her name, but she, super fun to hang out with. Wouldn't shave her legs if she went out on a date with somebody.
Is this Carolina?
No. It's a different friend. She would go out on a date, but she would bring a razor with her
in case she knew she was going to get some action.
In case she liked the guy.
Yeah. And
then she would run in the bathroom real quick and shave whatever thing she had to do. If she didn't like the guy, she wouldn't touch anything.
That makes sense. Going back to rituals, I don't know what it is, but I always have the same ritual. I don't know what it is. Maybe it goes back to my OCD, and it has nothing to do with anything disgusting. I always make sure one of the last things I say before I go to bed is the word please, and the first thing I like to say when I get up is the word thank you.
Please let me get up in the morning?
Yeah, and thank you when I get up. And
who are you thanking?
Whoever.
Just throwing it out there?
Throwing it out there into the ether. And then I've always had this thing, going back to rituals, I don't know what it is. The completely unrelated topic, but back into rituals. Every time I pass, this is years, every time I pass the cemetery where my grandmother, my grandfather, and my aunt's buried, I blow them a kiss. Every time. I don't know what it is.
You know what I do? I have a buddy, Danny Santoro, when I lived in Maryland. Anytime he heard sirens or an ambulance,
do a sign of the cross.
He would do a sign of the cross.
Yeah, I do.
And I got into the habit of doing that too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what it is.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Because you assume that they're going somewhere.
Yeah, whoever's getting
somebody's in need.
Somebody's in need, and they could use a prayer. So I throw one out there. But if I'm in traffic and I'm behind an ambulance, I'm trying to look in the back window and see what's going on.
Really?
Yeah. I've never seen it. I haven't seen anything yet.
That's not right.
No, but I mean, we live right across the street from a hospital.
No, I see people in the back all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet. Nothing that looked like it was disturbing or crazy.
No, it didn't look like somebody was literally dying on it.
Speaking of like rituals, Todd texted me yesterday. He's like, dude, have you seen the Bristol stool chart? I'm like, what the fuck is the Bristol stool chart? And for anybody who's listening for the first time, Bullet has a shit log, right?
Shit list.
Shit list. And there's two shit lists for people and for real shit.
No.
So Todd found this thing called the Bristol stool log.
But there was a legitimate reason
for
me documenting my movements.
And I'm concerned that they didn't ask you to take it to this level.
He's got a whole list of the different types of shit.
Well, I describe it. There's a descriptor.
But these are broken down by types.
Yeah, by types.
What's type 1?
Type 1 is a good, but I usually like to do it.
Let's see if he gets this right.
Is it your type 1 or you think what?
My type 1, the usually descriptor is the texture, if you will, if it's hard or smooth. And then the other thing is how clean is the wipe.
But that's not a type.
Just to talk about that for a second.
Type 1.
Is there nothing better
than a no wiper?
That when you go and you're like,
that's like throwing a.
Let me tell you something.
Shooting a swish.
Let me tell you
playing basketball.
I've had a clean,
and you got to do a second wipe. You're like, did I miss something? Did I not hit my assholes and not in the same spot it always is?
I've literally gone into work in the morning and been in such a great mood. And they're like, what are you in such a good mood for? And I'm like, I feel weird going, I had a clean wipe shit. I didn't say it, but you know,
those are great though.
It really sets your day off in a trajectory that's like, you know what, today's gonna be all right.
I shared a moment with somebody today. I had a emergency after lunch. I had to find a restroom somewhere, and I stopped at Best Buy in Langhorne.
You blew up the bathroom?
No, I had to, but there was a guy in the stall next to me, like moaning, and you could tell he was just having a tough day. I was probably in there.
Did you give him a pep talk?
Maybe a couple minutes. I reached under and just held his hand. Like, I got you, buddy. I'm here for you. And this dude was like moaning, and you could tell like he was just in all kinds of pain. I felt bad when I walked out. He was
passing a good one.
Like, dude, one thing I do when I go, I do this at my gym, and I do this anytime I use a public restroom. I look at people's shoes to see what they're wearing. Like, there's like 3 or 4 dudes at my gym. They'll go in and take a shit.
No.
And they get up and they just walk out and use the machines. No hands washing.
You realize you tag who's washing their hands and who's not.
Oh yeah, I'm watching. I'm like, dude with the blue shoes and white soles.
He's a dirty bastard.
He didn't wipe his fucking hands. There's 2 dudes I work with.
We call them brown. We give people a brown card at work and a yellow card.
Really?
Yellow card is when they pee and don't watch.
I'm going to use that.
Is when you
There's
can't-
a guy I work with. There's two guys actually, and both of them I call them out every time. I'm like, dude, you didn't fucking wash your hands. Every time I see him.
Now, do they go, oh, and then they do?
No, they're always trying to shake it. They shake everybody's hand, and I'm like, dude, why don't you fucking wash your hands when you take a piss? And you know what the response is? I don't have to wash my hands. It's my dick. I'm like, okay.
How about the just used water?
What I have
You know what I do?
When did water get away?
Water does not just clean. What I do is I use soap on my hands before I take a piss. Because you've been touching all kinds of shit. Then you're going to touch your ding-dong.
What I do
Then
is
I wash after.
if it's a public bathroom, I have to call somebody, talk on the phone, so this way I don't feel weird going in the bathroom.
You've never called me during a public restroom.
I did. You
visit.
didn't answer, and then you said I'll call you 10 minutes later.
Was that today?
Yeah.
You were having an
He
episode?
needed you.
I needed you.
I was holding your hand under
I
the
called my
stall?
friend. He's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "I need you just for a minute." And he's like, "Why?" I'm like, "I'm taking a piss at a Wawa
Oh, taking a piss. That's nothing.
Why?
because I just don't feel comfortable going in there. I
You
feel a
think
lot
something's
of.
gonna happen to you?
I just feel
You
anxiety.
pulled your dick out in front of Lex last week.
Did I?
Yes.
You don't remember any of this?
No.
I started. I go, dude, you were pretty reckless. He goes, I wasn't. Maybe I was drunk. I'm like, I said, dude,
You were hitting
you
Lex
with
and
a cane. He's
getting
like,
in
huh?
Pat's face,
Huh?
saying stupid shit. And
Was
Pat,
that really?
Pat was just kind of looking at you like, I'm going to break you in half.
No, he wasn't.
I swear to God. Yeah. You were hitting Lex with your cane in his fucking knee over and over and over again. And Lex is one of the nicest guys. I was thinking, like, Lex is going to punch him in the
Lex
face.
ain't gonna do shit. He's a
had
bitch.
Lex
Dude,
decided to.
I tell you what, Lex looks like he was really getting close.
Yeah, he was close.
Let me tell you
He's fighting
something.
in 2 weeks, and you keep smashing
You're
his
smashing him
shit.
with a fucking
Let me
cane.
tell you something. Lex is gonna do two things about me hitting him with a cane: nothing and like it.
And then when you were giving him a headlock,
Oh, I forgot I gave him a headlock, too. So
Oh, really?
yes.
Shit.
And he knew, you could see his face. He wanted to literally pick. you
Yeah,
up
he
and
wasn't
slam you
very
on the
happy.
table.
But speaking of fights, did you guys watch the UFC fights last weekend?
No. Yeah.
Every person I picked to win the fights, I think I was wrong last week. Right?
I was right on a lot of them.
Like who was the undercard? I mean, the undercard wasn't that fantastic, right? Like I barely remember the undercard fights. Right?
Yeah, was that 220?
Yeah, it was 220, and it was in. What are you doing? Stop
I'm
texting.
texting Lex and Pat.
What, saying you're sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So last weekend was a good weekend of fights. You had UFC Bellator, and Bellator. You had Rampage versus Chael Sonnen, and then the main event, and actually Rory McDonald versus Diego. Is it Lima? I don't remember his first name. And
Did you see his leg?
yes,
Oh,
his leg got destroyed.
We're gonna talk about that in a second.
We're talking about it right now.
The thing I was really,
We're already in the conversation.
as far as the Bellator card, I was really impressed with the way that he fought through that.
Rory McDonald's a bad dude.
Let me tell you something. He deserved that world title. And as far as Lima throwing his hands up, acting all disgusted, dude, you had 5 rounds. You had a guy who had
Last
one
round, he
leg.
just held on to him in the guard.
You had one leg. Funny thing about this past weekend was the UFC, Bellator, and Showtime all had combat sports.
it
And
was Showtime.
Well, we're still on UFC and Bellator. Before you go to boxing,
I'm not going. Hold on.
you watch your mouth.
Showtime actually had Errol Spence Jr. versus Lamont Peterson, but this is a good sign for combat sports in general. They all did really good number-wise, and I'm not going to go into particulars, but
There had to be a lot of pay-per-views for UFC for this one.
well, we're just talking about the pay-per-view numbers always take a little bit of time. We're talking just strictly about the prelims,
Okay.
but they basically all average very close to about 1 million
And this is on
views.
public television.
Yeah, we're talking about cable television.
But is 1 million views a good number for?
But-
for
but,
free-
What do we have, like 220 million in the United States? That's pretty good, I
But-
would think.
but
it's,
here-
it's
Here's
not
here's-
even 1%.
Here's
It's
what
like
I'm saying is that
.40.
fight fans are fight fans, and they're going to channel change, and they're going to watch particular fights. It's not anymore where
Well, we actually
UFC and you know what? My friend Melissa said it. She's like, the Bellator card was more stacked than the UFC card.
This was
save
one of
for
the
main
first
events.
times I went over to Todd's house and we hung out with. It was me, him, his son, and his girlfriend, and we were watching the fights. And in between fights, I was like, switch over to Bellator.
It's kind of like the Monday Night War with WCW and WWE.
Not
in a
the
way.
same. I mean, like it's similar,
Similar.
but the one is here, the other one's down here. But there was many times I said, I'm like,
No, it's
switch
not.
to the other channel.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, honestly, I think the difference between
It's getting closer.
It's getting closer. And as a fan, don't you like having that option?
I enjoy that option very much because sometimes there's like 10, 15 minutes in between a fight.
No, I would have rather had the spike on Friday. I
Yeah.
wish I didn't have to.
But you know what? I liked it because
On different days, you mean?
But here's the
Yeah.
thing: if Todd and I watch the fights, his wife isn't giving him both nights to watch the fights.
Yeah, I get
Right?
what you're saying, too.
Am I right?
I do what I want.
Yeah. She's not listening. So one of the things like I enjoyed about it was that there was multiple fights on.
And you can change.
We can
You
change back and forth. And I'm hanging out with him the whole time. Otherwise, like it's just, hey, did you see that last
Thanks for
night?
inviting me, by the way.
You texted me and said, hey, I'm not going out tonight.
No, you didn't.
No, you did.
Okay.
I have the text.
I think a couple
He probably
things.
doesn't remember that either.
No, a couple things that about the Bellator card. Michael Chandler really fought
We missed that fight.
he fought a very tough opponent,
I saw it the next day.
and he dominated as the fight went on. Give this guy his belt back.
Hey, you know what I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show? Real quick. What network are we on?
Out of pocket.
Out of
Net.
Pocket Network. We totally forgot to mention those
We're
dudes at the
fired.
beginning.
Good thing I put a
God
little-
damn it.
Have you
Good
been
thing I
talking?
put a little icon in the corner.
All right, cool. Sweet.
Have you
It's
been
on
talking to her lately?
there. We're friends on Facebook now.
Have you talked to her lately?
Just haven't, but I'm going to message back and forth after the
Ask
show.
her if
tonight.
she's happy with us.
There's only been one episode.
Okay. No,
So
but
Bellator, Michael Chandler.
Chandler really, he's really, I would say, probably top five. Top five lightweight in the world.
He's always been really good.
He fought through a tough first
Who did he
round.
fight?
Oh God, he's a Japanese Brazilian kid. I'll pull up the card right here. The
Pull up
results.
the Bellator.
And you're going to do UFC, Todd?
UFC.
Very,
I called Todd out on his fact checking earlier today to see how fast he was.
very, very tricky. Very,
Give it a
very
shot.
tricky opponent. Bear with me here.
Yeah.
God
Yep.
damn it!
So on UFC card, Todd,
Hold
since
on.
you have that pulled.
Stop being a twat. Notice
The
I didn't see.
Dustin Ortiz fight was
Here we go.
That was
So
a good fight.
the fight card. Blah, 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 blah. Shut up. Michael Chandler for Godi Yamaguchi. Kotoya Yamaguchi, Japanese kid, but raised in Brazil.
What's Chandler weigh? Is he
155.
155?
Yamaguchi's a very, very dangerous jiu-jitsu guy from Curitiba, which is atypical of the Curitiba region. When you think of Curitiba, you think of shootbox. But he's a guy that, he even said in the lead up, Chandler's not going to take me down because he knows I'll submit
Chandler
him.
take him down.
Well, Yamaguchi caught him with a kick, a really tricky kick, and he really put Chandler on the backpedaling. But I think as the fight wore on, Chandler really imposed his will, really showed
after that one kick. It never happened.
it never happened again. But Chandler really proved that
Should Chandler be in the UFC?
should
Given
he,
his abilities.
I think no, because I think what
Well,
you're
because I see a lot of stuff lately. Like I listened to Joe Rogan last week, and he had Ben Askren on. I fucking hate Ben Askren.
I love him now.
I listened to Joe Rogan show. Fucking love him now. He was
Yeah.
the fucking best.
I heard. Was that him talking about how
Excuse me.
he was told he had a deal?
Yeah. He had all kinds of stuff, but I never liked the dude. Just something about him I didn't like. Just looking at him, and after listening to him talk, he's very intelligent, very well educated,
Yeah.
and he knows what he's talking about. And he was very well rounded on. Like he hung with Joe on every subject.
Well, the thing I think as time goes on, I think what you're going to see is that you're going to have top guys in weight classes.
Now, is that the Ali clause, whatever that is? Like,
Well, no, but I think if that gets enacted in UFC or MMA,
but what is that? That means
The
that
Ali Act is
you can
basically-
fight in any.
no. What that means is that the promoters, number one, the promoters can't be also saying who is going to get. They're basically
It's based on a ranking.
they're opening the door for sanctioning bodies to come into MMA, which is not good because then you're going to get the alphabet soup in boxing.
Belts like we have.
But basically, the promoter can't say you're number one, you're number two, you're number three. And title shots. See, the
so
problem
who decides that then?
the sanctioning body would.
Okay.
And that's why you have.
They're as guilty as
But
making the numbers work for them as well.
Well, the problem is with the sanctioning body is they only get money when there's a title in the line. So henceforth, let's have a lot of titles, so they have a lot of money. But it also is going to be where promoters would have to be transparent with their money. They would have to, the UFC doesn't publicly disclose a lot of how they pay fighters and whatnot. It's all on the back end. I think there's good and there's bad with it. But what I do see is, as time progresses, I mean, let's look here. The investment company that bought the UFC bought a $4 billion lemon. Sure they do.
That either.
Okay, when that company bought the UFC, you had the promise of John Jones, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor. Okay, you had Sage Northcutt, who was
making a little sense, which he rarely does.
You had Sage Northcutt, who was coming up. He was this hot young prospect. Ronda Rousey's going to WWE.
There was a lot of people that had their own brands.
Conor McGregor wants to do anything but fight in the UFC. They're going to strip him. It's going to be 2 years that he hasn't fought in the UFC. John Jones is gone. But what I'm saying is that it's very hard to create legitimate stars in a sport where anything can happen. That's the appeal of MMA. You're wearing 4-ounce gloves. Anything can happen. You're not going to tell me that Matt Serra is a better striker technically than George St. Pierre, but you're wearing 4-ounce gloves. Shit can happen. That's the appeal of it. However, unlike a worked event like WWE where they can build and invest in a star and they get that return on it, they can build all the money and spend all the money in the world that they want, and a guy just loses. A guy gets caught.
Let's start a league, all right? And we call it the BFL, the Bullet Fighting League, right?
But what
are the ingredients you put into the soup?
You mean, would it be a legitimate or would it be a worked event?
It's legit.
Well,
you're using elements from wrestling.
I love the Grand Prix idea of Bellator.
I love that as well. I love their presentation better as well.
Here's those 8 guys. One of those 8 guys is going to win.
Okay.
Like
every one of those 8 guys has a chance.
You're taking pro wrestling, WWE.
Here's what I would take.
K1. You're mixing them all together. And what are your ingredients?
Here's the number one ingredient.
You have to have at least 5.
There's the number one ingredient is this. Any type of fighter, competitor, wrestler, superstar, whatever, they fall under 2 categories. It's the everyman, or it's the attraction,
the elite.
Okay, you take a look at a guy like Brock Lesnar. He's an attraction. You look at there's not people on the street that look like that.
He's a freak.
You look at him, and immediately the eyes are drawn to him. Oh my God, this guy is. I don't know who that is. He commands attention. The guy.
Like if you didn't know anything about him, he walks in the room. Everybody stops what they're doing.
Even if he wasn't Brock Lesnar, that dude walks down the street.
Holy exactly.
You're like, that's a scary dude.
But then you have the everyman. You got the guy that draws you in.
Who's your everyman?
But hold on. No. I'm not even talking about specifics. What I'm talking is, it makes it relatable. It draws you in.
Like the guy sitting at home can relate.
Yeah. And what happens is the UFC markets their brand. They don't market fighters. What I would do if I have a promotion, I'm building talent. I'm building the star. I'm making them relatable. I want to get them out there because.
Do you think they're afraid that those guys are going to take that and go somewhere else?
Oh, without a doubt.
Right.
I mean, and there's a reason why historically, people that were booking territories in pro wrestling were usually the top stars because they knew they weren't going to fucking themselves over and they could rely on them. The UFC markets their brand above all else.
But don't you think they kind of did that early on? I mean, when they were doing the original Ultimate Fighter.
Right.
That was the first time that you were like, I'm invested in a guy.
Sure.
Well, you were connected on a personal level like Bullet does with movie characters.
But you're putting people in an environment where it's not relatable. You're not seeing them at home with their family. Like for me, if I know a guy, I'll tell you, a guy like Kimbo Slice. He was a guy that was relatable to many people because you were watching him learn. What I'm saying is you're watching him learn his craft in front of you.
You knew he had potential.
You're looking at him learning how to sprawl and learning basic rudimentary submission holds and whatnot. Yeah, he had that wow factor because he's got this knockout power. But what I'm saying
but he's willing to put himself out there and try all the other stuff.
I don't necessarily agree with a fighter house or something like that, but these all access shows, these UFC fighter shows where you see these guys with their family.
So what's your first ingredient?
Create stars, make them relatable.
Okay.
Number 2, I would have a rule set that would be number 1. Number 2, I get rid of the cage. It's not friendly to viewers.
You put hot lava around the cage?
No, I would make it a ring. A ring is very friendly for a TV audience because it's very easy to see through.
I've never had a problem watching.
I like the cage, but I like the Bellator circle. better.
Okay.
Guys aren't getting stuck in corners.
But I think number 3, what I would do is I would have a rule set that would be safer to the fighters, but would also be friendlier
Head kicks
to the
allowed?
action. Oh yeah, without
On
a
the
doubt.
ground.
I would take elbows out.
Do you think they have something close enough, like a trampoline enclosure, that is tough enough that you can't put your hands?
No,
in,
I
can't
wouldn't.
do any of that,
No, I wouldn't have
but
any. I wouldn't have.
Yeah,
any,
I mean, like, if you looked at Pride, like the ring was totally changed the dynamics of everything.
I wouldn't have.
Right.
I wouldn't have all the gaga, as far as like trampolines and all. I would have the big spectacle.
Have you watched Metamoris and
Yeah.
like Fight to Win and stuff, like where there's
and Frank
no,
Shamrock used to have the pit.
right? But there's
No
or,
ropes.
what was the one with Chuck Norris that was kind of curved up?
Yeah, it was like a
That
pit.
was kind of cool. It was like a pit and it was curved up like maybe 4 or 5 feet, and you had this like it was like a bowl you were fighting in.
I think
So dudes had a little bit of an angle all the way around. There was no takedowns,
One
but
of-
I think that would be kind of cool too.
one of the biggest things about pro wrestling is people get invested in characters, and they will follow those characters.
Do you have a smaller roster?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, what, 10, 15...
There's like 500 people in the
10,
UFC
15
right now.
years ago, if you were in UFC, it meant something. I wouldn't have as many shows because you've oversaturated the market. And you know what another thing I would do?
People are more selective about what they're going to spend their money on too.
I would s-
Like if there's 20 pay-per-views a year, you may pick 2 or 3 that
I would
you're
tell
really
you
like, this is the one I'm going to pay.
I would
And sometimes those don't pan out, and then you're like kind of hesitant to pay for another one.
I would
This
cross
one
promote.
worked out okay.
I would
Yeah.
I would cross promote
I
with
still owe you money, by the way.
I would cross promote with other organizations that made it worthwhile, so you'd have talent exchanges. But I would also go to what you said earlier. Some of my fondest memories of MMA were those Pride tournaments that would last over the course of a summer. So
Yes.
one of the biggest events of the summertime for wrestling is a Japanese one called the G1 Climax. Now, I know you guys
Is
are
that
like
kind of
promise.
like a fucking
You know,
climax?
so what it means is what the cool thing about it is that okay, from this block of time, you've got the tournament, you've got these guys, who's going to advance, are there going to be injuries, how's that going to play into a factor? It creates another dynamic to it. There's the progression. I like that. Me personally, I've always been a fan of these multi-month tournaments. It's
So we
just
have character development,
character development.
different fighting arena,
Yeah, I would make it more friendly to the TV audience.
ongoing tournaments.
I would have an ongoing tournament, but I would also have a rule set. I would take out elbows. Elbows will be gone from the ground.
Yeah, because I mean, a
Because-
guy who's in the guard who can just start cutting your face up, and
I would allow-
I fucking hate that.
I would allow head stomps.
Would you put headbutts back in?
No, because then you can damage yourself, and with CTE being such a prevalent thing, that'd be a real hard sell.
I mean, head stomps kind of can be a little vicious.
What would you think if they let you grab the cage?
No.
What would you think about hair pulling and like?
And I tell you another
punches to the nuts.
No, and I tell you another thing I would do. I would number one.
The hair pulling, I would agree, because you know what?
I would take-
If you're in a
have-
fight,
if you have long hair,
like get it back closer to a street fight like the original. UFC.
No. I want to make it a sport. I would take USADA out. USADA would be gone, and if
Allow steroids,
not
or
I would
at
not
least say, hey, you know, if you want to make it even, everybody can do whatever they.
I would not necessarily allow steroids, but I would allow guys to take things to heal their bodies. I would get rid of the weight cutting culture because that's dangerous.
I did listen on when they had Ben Askren on, like the way Pride does it, or not Pride, ONE FC.
But they weigh you, and you have to be in a
They
certain
weigh you
percentage.
and they do a
hydration test.
Hydration test as
Yeah.
well. So you weigh and you pee at the same time. And if your pee is within a certain density,
Yeah.
you're not fighting.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
Or it has to be within a certain density.
Well,
if it's
Rich-
not, you're not fighting.
Rich Franklin is a high position in ONE FC.
Yeah.
And that's very valuable for them because he's fought at a very elite level. But
But I'm tired. I'm tired of the not making weight. I am tired of all that. If you make someone fight more at their natural weight, so
they're
much
healthier.
that-
They
so
have
much that goes
yeah.
on.
I would say that. But going back real fast to the Bellator event, Bellator, the main event, inexplicably they made Rampage Jackson versus Chael Sonnen. I have been very critical of this heavyweight tournament, but I'm just going to enjoy it because
It wasn't bad.
It was a shit fight.
I mean, no. You know what? You could say
I didn't think it was terrible.
You could say it's a shit fight, but here's the thing.
And Rampage was like 250.
You know, Chael Sonnen.
I didn't think he looked terrible though.
Chael Sonnen is blasting double legs, and he's not able to take a guy down because he's much bigger than opponents he's ever been used to. But you know what? Kudos to Chael Sonnen. He hung in there. He did what he had to do to win.
Well, who's the next fight in the tournament? It's
Frank Mir and Fedor.
Yeah.
Frank Mir and Fedor. Who?
That's a great fight.
That's a fucking awesome fight. I would have fucking loved to seen that one 10 years ago.
I think Fedor's going to get hurt.
I think Mir just fucking breaks him.
Yeah.
Mir's a bad dude.
Yeah, but Mir's been known to take a punch here and there and not.
No, I mean if you look at Mir's fights, like,
Here's the thing, though.
who are the guys that beat Mir? Brock Lesnar just fucking held him down and just fucking punched his head
Which
in.
was embarrassing.
Which if those two fought again, you would not see that happen
Yeah, but
again.
they're 50-50.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, here's the thing, though. The thing about Fedor is that, at least in the past, I don't know now, and I really don't see him changing it. And
He's a fat 220.
But no. The thing about Fedor is he's very willing to go to the ground. If he hits a guy and he rocks him, he'll go right down to the ground with him, regardless of how dangerous they are.
He's a Sambo champion.
He's dangerous on the ground.
Yeah. But that willingness, I mean, remember when he lost to Verdum? He went against a very elite jiu-jitsu guy when they, in the first 2 minutes of the fight,
Fell
when they
into
were
the
dry.
triangle. Yeah, he drove
But
it.
they were bone dry.
Dove into the triangle.
I mean, and in the past, he was able to pull out, muscle out, because if you saw his first fight with Minotauro, it's scary. You can feel those punches coming through the cameras. But
if you look at the two of them, Fedor's probably, 6'1", maybe?
I think Fedor's
On
had
a good day,
he's-
220.
he's
and
got more mileage on him.
a chubby 220, and Frank Mir's like 6'4". He's got to cut down to like 260.
You know what? I think the worst thing that ever happened to Frank Mir was he decided he was going to try to compete and be a super heavyweight and cut to make 265 with the likes of Brock Lesnar. And really,
He should be at 205.
Credit to Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez has showed that the super heavyweight era is
You got to be in the mid 240s,
220s,
like 250.
230s, even more, because I mean, and we'll get to the UFC card in
Mir
a minute.
kills him or doesn't kill him?
Oh, Mir will kill him.
I think Mir just wrecks him.
Yeah, Mir will kill him.
And I don't even think it goes to the ground. I think Mir beats him on the feet.
But
I think Mir will knock him out.
But then look how small Shale is going to look against Mir.
Yeah.
Mitrione.
But Chael's not a little dude.
I tell you who my dark horse is.
He's little to
My
them.
my dark
He
horse.
is little to them.
My dark horse in the entire
Mitrione?
tournament. No, is going to be Ryan Bader.
If you look at the whole group of guys,
Bader is probably
he's the youngest guy. He's probably the most overall talented.
and he's not having the
Does
cut.
he fight that heavy?
he fights. He's a 205 guy.
And he's a big 205.
But if he's fighting in heavyweight, he's probably like 220, 230.
I'll take a guy that doesn't have to hydrate or dehydrate himself to make weight.
But he's a ripped, like,
He is a big,
225.
strong, tough kid, and he hits hard. He's got a great wrestling pedigree.
if I'm putting my money on anybody, if I got to pick two out of all those guys,
Yeah,
it is Bader.
I think the winner of the
Mitrione.
Mitrione Bader fight, the winner of the Mitrione Bader fight,
I guess I can't pick those two because
Wins
they're
the
both
fight.
in the same
No,
fight.
it's Mitrione versus Big Country.
Big Country. Yeah, Mitrione, Mitrione or
I
Bader.
hope Big Country just gets his head knocked off. I like Big Country, but he hasn't done anything to change his game in forever.
But here,
He turned into.
But he is a badass though, and I like him. He's funny. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I feel bad about what I just said.
he
I got
turned-
fat
he
guy
turned-
solidarity.
Yeah, he turned into a bigger Diesel Riggs, or not Diesel. What's his face?
Joe Daddy.
Kevin Nash, Big Diesel,
No, the light heavyweight guy.
former WWE champion,
Who lost to George St. Pierre.
Intercontinental champion,
He has not done well.
WCW champion.
Big Rig.
Big Rig.
You're thinking Big Country, Big Rig.
Yeah.
Big Country, Big Rig.
But those two, Big Country hasn't knocked anybody out.
While we're talking about,
He hasn't in a while.
He went through a string, and then all of a sudden it was like,
Well,
I
Guys
got-
kind of figured him
Hold
out.
on,
a bit.
hold on.
But the dude can take a beating.
Yes.
While we're talking about Big Rig, I can only think of two other people whose physiques have transformed so dramatically since USADA, and I would say Overeem and Vitor. The next guy, the third guy whose body has just significantly, drastically changed since USADA implemented is Riggs. I mean, people can talk about Cyborg all they want, but her physique hasn't drastically changed. Her fighting style hasn't drastically
she looks
changed.
pretty much the same.
Her power and everything else. I love Cyborg, and I'll talk about her in a second.
Yeah, but Big
You were
Rig-
just
Big-
talking about her.
Big Rig has not.
He has not looked the same. He was definitely on the gas. when
But
he
Big
fought
Country,
Jason.
I can't think of anybody he's really laid the hands to in a long time.
Mitrione.
And the dude's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but I don't think he has very many submissions at all.
Do you need to when you're knocking dudes out?
But he hasn't really knocked anyone out in a while.
Not lately.
Mitrione was the last guy, I think.
Mitrione's got something to prove then.
But when you're wearing 4-ounce gloves and you're weighing 265,
and if you're looking at dudes that have improved over the last few years, Mitrione's one of those dudes who's fucking constantly just improving.
Yeah, I like Mitrione in this.
I
think
when he was on the Ultimate
Fighter,
Fighter, I fucking hated him.
Yeah.
And then at some point he just grew on me.
You know the thing is,
and I liked the dude.
Well, you thought he was a baby in the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. Well, you know,
never watched it.
The first time we had our friend Lex on the show, we call
he
him
looks like a baby.
Matt Mitrione.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to all those fights. So we're 4 ingredients into it right now.
Yeah.
Right? We have character development. We have different environment to fight in. We have
Take USADA out.
We take USADA out, different rule set.
And co-promote.
Co-promote, and there was one more we need. Then we have the BFL, the Bullet Fighting League.
He didn't mention the Grand Prix type of
Yeah,
style
have
of-
tournaments.
Yeah, that was kind of part of the presentation part.
Super duper, super hot ring car girls.
And Roy Nelson was in 2012.
That's the last time he knocked somebody out?
No, that's the last time. That's when him and Mitrione fought.
Oh, okay.
with tons
Mitrione's improved so much
with
since then.
tons of tattoos.
But you know what? When I watch the fights, like even when we call the fights,
actually my they would all be Spanish,
when we call the fights,
and they would all
right?
have tattoos.
Bullet and I are at ringside, and we're calling the fights, and it's in between rounds. He always does this. The ring card will come out, and he does this. He grabs my inner thigh, and he's like,
What I'm looking at, listen,
and he does this. He puts his own knuckle in his mouth.
Yeah,
I don't pay any attention to that. And when I watch his UFC and a girl walks around a cage, I don't even look at that.
You gotta understand. This dude's penis, for lack of a better term, is dead. So what happens is I'll see like this.
You're dead.
You're dead foot. He's dead.
Dead dick.
Dead dick.
I'm
so like,
squared.
I'll see this juicy ass in front of me, and if I look at it and squeeze his leg, I can trick my mind. You know, like when you're driving and
It's
you
not
do
that
this,
the dick's dead.
you can kind of make yourself believe you're running real fast. It's kind of like
Look
that.
at me, Lloyd.
Yeah, right.
But it's not that the dick's dead.
Well, you know,
I just don't get to use it as much as I like.
you got like 10 inches of dust on it.
Well, there's 10 inches, so.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It's a little bit of dust.
No, I mean, I think that's what they could do. But speaking about the UFC, let's recap this card because there was a lot of interesting stuff happened this past weekend.
It was a good weekend of fights.
There was.
Todd has the fight card. He's going to start a little bit lower on the food chain because he likes to go right to the main event for some reason.
He does. He looks to go right to the chotch.
So our buddy from last week, Pat, was right about Gleason Tebow getting knocked out.
Oh,
Yeah, I wasn't surprised.
That was like first punch too, right?
It was early.
He's shot.
57.
Gleason Tebow at this point is shot. And
He's
you know
got
what?
a soft spot on his head.
But here's another telling thing. They don't let fighters in the UFC rehydrate anymore with the IV bags. So but what happens is you're more susceptible to knockouts because your brain's mostly made of water. You're dehydrated. What's it pull from? The nearest source. Your brain. You're more likely to be knocked out. Plus, you've got USADA. I don't give a fuck what you tell me. That dude was on some kind of gear.
I thought he looked pretty. He still looked.
Who did he fight?
Pretty solid.
Young up and comer.
Islam, one of the ones that he was able to rattle. All
Yeah,
the guys.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Who was the next fight?
Probably the next most significant was the Dustin Ortiz versus Alexandra Pantoja.
Who won that fight?
Dustin Ortiz.
Why don't I remember any of these fights? Was I at your house yet?
This might have been when we were switching back and forth, but I wound up watching them.
Yeah, I was feeling pretty good.
The Rob Font fight was good.
Yes.
TKO head kick and then the punches.
Yeah, that was a pretty good fight.
Vellante versus Barroso. I believe Pat was right again about
For-
Vellante.
Yeah, that was a good fight as well.
Disco Volante is a great album by Mr. Bungle.
We're on a co-main event now.
That Calvin Cater, Shane Burgess, for that God, that was.
I don't remember that one either.
That dude was getting a little bit pulled up. He was Rob Font's friend.
Is his last name Burger?
Like best friend?
Catter. He fought Shane Burgess.
Oh, I was about to say his last name's Burger. I would hope that somebody would name their kid their middle name
Hamburger.
Ham. You know what I mean?
And then they had Daniel Cormier.
Volcom
Volcom
essentially had the same issue.
he's got the same issue that everybody that gets in the ring that's not named John Jones is. That division is you've got John Jones, and there's a clear separation. Not a lot, but enough.
It's enough.
It's
to Cormier.
enough between Cormier and John Jones, and from Cormier to the rest of that division,
Nobody even close.
nobody close. And just like I was putting the bad mouth on
Do
him,
you feel like Cormier had something to prove?
yeah, I think in his regardless. I mean, look, Cormier took the belt back because there's financial perks to being a UFC champion in terms of sponsorship with Reebok, in terms of
I liked his speech at the end of the fight. He's like, everybody down me and said I wasn't a champion. I've treated this fight like I was winning the championship again.
and exactly that. He
He got me back.
He came into that fight and treated it like he was a contender.
Did you get respect for him when he said that?
I've always had respect for
No,
him.
I knew that, but did you say to yourself, like, you know what? He's the champ.
No,
You still think John Jones is the champ?
he is. He passed the polygraph.
He did pass the polygraph. But do you feel like Cormier is an illegitimate champion because he's so much higher than all these other guys?
Here's the thing.
Yes or no?
Well, just let me say this. I know he doesn't care, and I know it doesn't mean anything, but I legitimately feel bad for Cormier because he's never going to be able to rematch with John Jones before he retires. He wants to retire around 40. Now, number one, I don't believe that
How
at
old's
all.
Cormier now? Like 37?
39. He's going to retire next year.
Damn.
He's always going to have that stain of John Jones on him, and he shouldn't because
Kind of like the funk on your balls.
If
He's
you-
going to be 39 in March.
if you check every category off on the, I mean, Daniel Cormier hits it. He's a good role model. He's a great champion. He's a good representative of the company. However, I mean,
He's well-rounded.
he's very well rounded, but I think it's a shame that his legacy is always going to have an asterisk next to it with the John Jones thing.
But you know what? I think as a current fan, I don't think it's as much of an asterisk. 100 years from now, when you look at it,
Yeah,
completely different.
yeah. I think that it's just a shame, man, because it's.
But you know, I was glad to see it. The thing that surprised me is that he went toe to toe with the hands.
I would rather have my kid have a Daniel Cormier poster on his wall than a John Jones.
Oh, absolutely. And
That's the best compliment I can give him.
the thing that surprised me was Volcom taller, longer.
But he was worried about the takedown.
Cormier stood toe to toe with him and fucking rocked him.
but Cormier is also a guy that stood toe to toe with Bigfoot.
Yeah, but
other
you
guys.
look at Cormier, you're like, not that big of a dude.
They want to put him up in heavyweight.
You
now.
put him with Luke Rockhold. Rockhold looks way bigger.
Well, because Rockhold is
He's a bigger dude
bigger
normally.
guy, yeah.
Right, but you see Cormier standing toe to toe with a guy whose arms are probably 6 inches longer.
He
Fucking cracking this
There's
dude.
talks about him stepping up to heavyweight to challenge Stipe, but he's non-committal about it because of
That would be a fight I would love to watch.
I would watch him
because
go
it can.
against Stipe, but Nagano, I wouldn't want to see Cormier get hit by Nagano.
Nagano is fucking. Speaking of Nagano in the championship fight,
I called that.
what the fuck? Like, this dude apparently has zero ground game, and one of the
No, I
things.
wouldn't say that.
No, he had zero ground
If
game.
he had zero ground game, he would have been stopped or he would have been submitted. He lasted the entire fight.
I don't think Stipe really tried any submissions on him. If you look at the fight,
No, what I'm saying is, if he had zero ground game, he would have been pounded out with ground and pound.
No, he just kind of lay there and
I wouldn't say
No,
he had zero ground game. That's not fair.
Here's his ground game. I'm so strong, I'm going to stand up with you hanging on me.
Yeah, I think it was this. I think it is a guy that's riding a 4-fight knockout streak, first round knockouts.
He did not train a single day on the ground.
And
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
And he got caught in that.
It came out this week that this dude trained zero ground.
Oh, because his coach came out before that and said, "No, we train with all these
Yeah.
top level guys."
It came out this week, and they talked about it on the Rogan
apologize,
podcast.
man.
They talked about it on like 20 other shows. The dude trained absolutely zero ground because he thought in his mind
This is a
he's
case.
badass enough. He's going to knock.
This is a
Stipe
case
out.
of a guy who did not have a plan B, and we've seen this in plenty of fights.
But his thing was like, I'm strong enough. I'm going to stand up, and Stipe knew that.
What's sad is he was almost right, but Stipe was just doing enough.
Just hanging on him.
to hold him in
Just
that
kind
hand.
of fucking
I got
just
one-
wearing him out.
I got 1 foot up, but I can't seem.
Did you see the shade that Stipe threw at Dana after the fight?
The what?
The Shade. That's
Oh
what the
yeah,
kids
where he
call.
had somebody else put the belt on him.
Yeah, his coach.
Right, but
They
I mean,
fucked up.
I mean, who's more valuable to put the belt on, the coach or fucking Dana?
The coach.
Exactly. So is
Well,
it really a shade on Dana?
Sure it is, because the UFC in that entire build-up basically was Stipe's the placeholder for the coronation of Nagano. And the UFC has done this for a long time now. They promote the wrong people. They promote Paige Van Zandt over Cyborg. Okay, you have Cyborg, who doesn't look like every other chick, who is a person that does a ton of charity. She's a positive role model. She's famous the world over. She's respected in the Middle East, in South America, in North America, in Europe. She's a person that hasn't been defeated in 10 years.
She's beautiful on the inside.
No,
I'm saying but
she's a
like
really good person.
She's a good person.
She's a really good fucking person. And instead of look, the number one thing the UFC needs right now is stability. Because they build these stars up and they either leave or they fuck up. They've got some kind of problem. Cyborg hasn't been stopped in 10 years. She hasn't lost in 10 years. That's stability.
She's a female Fedor.
But instead of that, they're going to promote a pretty little blonde girl named Paige Van Zandt. It's disgusting.
But here's also the problem with her division. There's nobody in it for her.
Yeah, but that goes back to the problem again. Promote the star. Because regardless...
You know what I like about her, though? Because they said you should fight Amanda Nunes.
She's going to.
But originally...
She didn't want to.
Originally, she said, I will fight the next contender because that's
how
it should happen.
Division. I want to build my division. But then, like, again, you've got a guy like Francis Ngannou. Now, rightfully so. The guy looks...
He's scary, dude.
He's a scary-looking guy. Hold on.
He's been doing bad things to bad people.
But he's a good guy. He's a good-natured guy. You're going to hopefully bring in a demographic of fan that you didn't have before.
Africa's a big country.
Okay. But here's how I looked at it. He's got 4 in a row first-round knockouts. So does a champion. He knocked out Arlovski and Overeem in the first round. So did the champion. And during the entire build-up, they're talking about, like, he hits you like a Ford Escort going 35 mile an hour.
93 horsepower.
Whatever. And then you just see Stipe going like, okay, it's great. You've got Stipe Miocic. Now, you take the goofy fucking name out of it. The guy's about as American as apple pie.
About his name? Like,
he's not like John Smith. What I'm saying is the guy's as American as apple pie. He's a first responder fireman. Full time. Still, right now. He's a fireman.
He could have administered first aid to Nagano.
What I'm saying is, this is a guy that runs in the fucking burning buildings or pulls people out of fucking cars and saves lives.
He's a fucking hero.
He mows his own fucking lawn. He's a fucking everyday guy. Back to the everyday guy thing. If I'm a guy and I don't know...
And Nagano is your freak, like fucking...
Exactly.
Brock Lesnar.
If I don't know anything about MMA, I'm like, oh, okay, these two guys are going to fight.
You're going to look at the one dude and like, he's big, he's jacked, he's
this
going to
guy's a fireman.
Kill the other guy.
You know, he lives in a regular neighborhood. He's got a wife. He's got a kid on the way. You hear this guy talk. You're, you know what? I like this fucking guy. But they don't do that.
Well, therein lies the problem that you can't self-promote or anything like that. That if he was able to put his own banner up, if he was able to do that,
he's not a self-promoter though. That's his thing. He's a casual dude.
The job. What is the UFC?
Every picture should have him with a Dalmatian.
What is the UFC? Huh? What is the UFC technically? It's
Ultimate Fighting Championship.
It's a promotion. Their job is to promote. You take a guy like Mighty Mouse Johnson, right? Demetrius Johnson, and you've got people kind of giving him shit where he's saying, I want to fight TJ Dillashaw, but I only want to fight him on a stacked pay-per-view card because it makes the most sense for me financially. And you can say...
He's getting smart.
You can have people that say, oh, you know what, nobody cares about him. It's not Demetrius Johnson's job to promote.
It's how they promote him.
He's got 4 jobs. His first job is to come in on weight.
How many jobs does Todd have?
1. No, any fighter in the UFC, but particularly Demetrius Johnson, his first job is to come in at the weight he was contracted to come in at. His second job is to be responsible with anything he puts in his body that could be flagged for a USADA offense. His third thing is to do press that they tell him, hey, you're going to do this radio interview.
Which he's getting better at.
The fourth thing is to win. Anything else other than that, that's the UFC's fault. If the UFC has not made a star out of Demetrius Johnson,
how they do everything else, that's on them.
If they have not made him a bankable star, that's on the UFC. That's not on Demetrius Johnson.
But you know something about Demetrius Johnson, though? He, through all that, where they haven't promoted himself, he's finally earned the respect of everybody, I think.
Not me. I don't like him.
But
Punch my friend in the face. Fuck him.
But I think he's talented enough where people finally just said, you know what?
No, I do. I gotta respect him.
This dude is exactly
You can't argue with numbers.
what everybody says he is.
You can't argue with numbers.
Right, and all the naysayers, they can't fucking argue with it. He's as talented as they come.
It's like anything else. It's like, you know what? That division, nobody cares about it. That's the UFC's fault. The fighters, their job is to fight. That is the fault of Dana White. But again, they are in a panic mode where they're trying to hotshot shit. That's why you've got them trying to put their eggs in a basket with a guy like, Sage Northcutt. He looks like $1 million, and he fights
like 250.
But he's got a legit skill set. He's got a lifetime of martial arts experience. But he's not ready to be in that spot.
You would take more elements from the WWE. Speaking of the WWE,
I would. Yeah, that's correct. They had Raw 25.
25 years since the first Raw.
Did you watch it?
Is it March? Is that when it happened?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. It didn't happen yet. How am I going to watch if it didn't happen? Did it happen?
Happened.
What? When?
Last Monday.
Oh, are you serious? What happened on Monday night?
Well, it was...
Wait, hold on. If it's been 25 years since the beginning of Raw, and that is a big event...
It is.
How have I not heard a single thing or seen anything on the interweb that refers to a big event that might have happened?
Because you are a snarky twat that says, pro wrestling is fake. I like the jiu-jitsu people. In my pajamas. You get very snarky with pro wrestling. You're very dismissive of it because...
I'm trying to talk to you about it now as a friend.
I apologize.
I accept your apology.
The problem with Raw 25 was that they were simulcasting from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn and then the Manhattan Center in, obviously, Manhattan, where it originated. And you had large periods of time where one venue was sitting on their hands watching a TV monitor, and then
so the crowd wasn't totally engaged.
The real tale of it was
they should have had it in one spot.
They should have.
And you know where they should have had it? Was the original whatever
the Manhattan
that theater was.
Yeah, but I think they wanted to maximize the eyeballs on it. They had a lot of returning stars.
I think they were more interested in packing people in the audience versus actual getting eyeballs from the television on it.
The first time I watched it, I was
highlight of the night.
The beginning, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Stone Cold stunned Mr. McMahon and Shane.
Really?
Yeah.
How did we miss this?
Yeah, he looked like $1 million too. Stone Cold looked great.
Really?
Physically, he looked amazing. Looks like he's got another run in him.
How old's he now? Like 51, 52?
He's about there. He's keep coming up close.
Which is not old anymore.
No. If you think about it, back in the day, they said Ric Flair was too old to win the Royal Rumble, and he was 40. AJ Styles now is 40. He's the WWE champion.
Okay. I mean, look at Cena. Cena's in his 40s, right?
He's getting up there. Yeah, but, I mean, the problem is that they served way too many masters. You know, you have the people that want to have the nostalgia and have the older stars, but you can't have them basically shit can and make the younger guys, the newer guys, look like shit. You can't have the newer guys make the legends look like shit because you have the nostalgia factor of people that haven't watched in a while just watching.
You got to break even on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you do. The second time I watched it, I watched certain things. I went back and I watched it, and I enjoyed it a lot more because.
Should I watch it?
Yeah, I think the problem.
How long was it? Like 3-4 hours?
Yeah, but you can fast forward through shit. The problem with Raw 25 is the same problem that I had with The Last Jedi, and I had to check that, which was my expectations of what I thought I was going to get versus what I got.
Different generations.
Well, no, what I mean is like, I wanted to see they had The Undertaker come out at the Manhattan Center, which is a small center, and they didn't even dim the lights, they didn't have the smoke and all the shit.
He just walked out.
He just kind of walked out, and
hey guys, I'm The Undertaker.
And he had like a hood on, and he had a wig on for the long hair, because he didn't have long hair, and he had a wig. And my whole
wig on?
Yeah, and my whole thing was like, okay,
just be who you are.
I can suspend disbelief and and believe that you're an undead cowboy that shoots lightning
bolts
out of your fingers.
Too, or?
He had a hood.
Okay.
Like I can suspend my disbelief again and make believe that you're an undead cowboy that shoots lightning bolts out your fingers, but the hair thing is just too much for me.
It's like I can't do that.
I can't do it.
I just can't do the hair.
But I mean, I think the number one thing about, and it was nonsensical, the promo made no sense, but again, there was things that I took out of that were really cool to see. It was cool to see Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler call some matches again. That was super cool.
I like Jim Ross.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are like, you grow up hearing those voices. Do
you get sad when these guys pass away?
Yeah.
Every time I see somebody pass away now, I have this like reality check with myself.
Breaks my heart.
No, it's just like at some point I'm gonna be there, right? Like you're gonna pass away at some point. I'm gonna pass away from old age.
You think?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm probably
nothing could kill me
No.
except just being old. Who the fuck's calling me?
Yeah, maybe
it's
you
my
want to.
daughter.
Maybe you want to put your phone on silent, unless you
Yeah,
want to.
I
Unless
just
you want to
it
put her on the show.
She hasn't called me.
calls you.
She never fucking calls me. She's gonna call me in the middle of the show.
You want to put her on the show?
I'm not gonna put her on the show.
No, put her on the show.
she'll be pissed off. So,
She calls me all the time.
speaking of Raw 25, a big announcement this week was that the XFL is coming back.
The return in 2020.
Yeah.
Much different tone of the press conference with Vince McMahon than the original time, because the original time, he was like Big Dick Vinny, and they were just like, yeah, we're going to be on NBC prime time and blah, 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 and this, that, and the next thing. And here he came out. He was very understated. He's like, look, you're not going to see me often. I'm just bankrolling this. I'm going to hire people to run it. And he's like, we're not even going to launch until 2020. So it's very, very early in the preliminary stages. I am not a very big fan of football, but I'll give it a shot. I think it would be kind of cool.
I think that would be cool.
I mean,
But
it's always good to have an
think the
alternative,
thing we
right?
can take away from tonight is that you put Bullet and I in charge of some sort of engagement or event.
Well, we're in charge of the XFC,
What's the XFC?
the XCC. That's their sister promotion.
It's the XFL and the.
It's the Extreme Fighting Championship.
you give Bullet and I an opportunity to take control of some sort of major event.
When are we going to get some of our friends from like the MMA world in here? Like, isn't Ryan supposed to come in? Isn't Helen supposed to come in?
Ryan's supposed to come in. Helen's supposed to come in. Diana said she's coming in with Dante. We need Nick Grinnup's back in again.
Yeah, Nick. Yeah, Big Dick Nick is too busy. He's
How do you know he's Big Dick Nick?
Well, I imagine he is.
Wait, why are you imagining it?
You know what? Because you know what? I hope he. You know what? I hope he's small dick Nick, because like he's good looking kid.
Yeah, he's got to have a flaw somewhere.
He's got to have the fucking Achilles heel.
We're gonna have
Small
Dave
Dick
from
Nick.
Dads and Cargo Shorts on next week. We're gonna get Russ back in a few weeks.
You know what my favorite thing about Helen is?
I want to say I'm not gonna say it. I want to say big titties, but I think that's not the thing.
I wasn't gonna say that, but I was. I love it when she wears the heels, because like
Because then she's Amazon now.
they're eye level.
Yeah. So one of the things about our show, and we're going to end it in a minute, is we really need people to share our show. We need you to like it. We need you to share it with other people.
Turn
We
the
need you
volume
to
down. So what's the
we need you to ask them to like our show, engage our show, because we're getting into some big.
We're trying to build our brand.
We're building our brand, but we're getting into some big advertisers, and they're looking for certain numbers from us.
And we need to make those certain numbers.
We can't do any of that without the numbers. So we need you to like the show, share the show.
Please.
We're also on the Out of Pocket Network.
And when are we going to get some of those fine folks?
We're we're going to talk to Andrea this week.
I think you should, because you are the public relations
I am the
guy.
one who knows how to speak English very well.
Oh, I can conjugate
No,
verbs.
you can conjugate, but you don't have to understand the social aspects of stuff because your Asperger's kicks in.
Fuck you. I don't think I have Asperger's. Although you want to know a time that I totally misread the vibe of the room, and I kind of made people uncomfortable. And
I would like to know that.
Do you want me to tell you on the air?
Yeah.
All right. So your friend from Trenton Road Takeout posted a picture of her tattoo, and I was like, "What tattoo?" Because the boobs were there.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What tattoo? Boobs or something?" And I made a joke about the boobs, and I think it was inappropriate.
It could be inappropriate.
It was,
but
and as soon as I did it, I was like, "Eh."
So
fuck.
we're on the Out of Pocket Network.
But I wouldn't say that necessarily means I have Asperger's. I would like an apology.
But I would apologize for that.
You would, or you're going to?
I am. I apologize.
I accept your apology.
So we're on the Out of Pocket Network, outofpocketnetwork.com. Right, I'm having trouble speaking English right now.
Yeah.
We are also doing the Extreme Cage Combat on Saturday night, February 3rd, Philadelphia Armory.
Are you going to drive
Fight
me?
start at 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up if I need to. We'll get some. We're gonna get some steaks after.
Oh yes.
And then we are also going to be. I think we're going to go down and see Russ at the Comedy Club in the next couple weeks. So we'll go down there for an event.
Hold on.
So check out Russ at Philly Comedy Club, phillycomedyclub.com. There's fight or shows on Friday night at 7:30 and 9:30.
I want to talk
Comin
about
At Ya
something first.
Podcast, CAY Pod. Get a discount.
We need to talk
also check out Dads and Cargo Shorts. Check out resttattoo.com.
You can check out Bullet Outside the House with a can with some firewood in it
Because he's homeless with his
he's
gloves.
he's
What else
cold.
you got?
We didn't talk about. I really wanted to talk about this for boxing because we don't talk a lot about boxing. And it's in fight news, and I wanted to talk about it.
All right, do it quickly.
You
have 30 seconds. Go.
I'm going to talk as long as I want.
And go.
I think the one thing that boxing has learned from the UFC is that they've really done a good job in the past 5-6 years of creating new stars in the boxing world. You may not know some of these people. ESPN recently published some of the top 10 pound-for-pound rankings. And I want to see if you know who these guys are. Number 1, Vasily Lomachenko. Have you heard of him? He recently did a...
Yes.
He trained with
I love Lomachenko.
TJ Dillashaw.
I'm a Lomachenko lover.
Well, in any case, I know you're being a twat.
No, I love Lomachenko. He's the fucking Matrix.
Yeah. Okay, so you know what I'm talking about.
What's
I apologize.
up? What's up? You know, I accept your apology.
He is a guy that you should really see the highlights. I think he's
He's amazing.
a little overhyped in the sense that he only had 10 professional fights.
He is amazing. His amateur record?
Yeah, his amateur record is the thing, though. This guy is one of those guys where, much like a Hickson Gracie, he just
never gets hit.
Total control of his body. It's really something freaky to look at. And if you saw some of the trainings that he had with TJ Dillashaw, if you can make a Dillashaw look like a bum, that's something.
That's amazing.
Granted, Dillashaw was in fighting shape and all, but still.
Either way, he has boxing skills. That
Triple
he's
G,
worked on.
Gennady Golovkin, was riding an 18 knockout streak. Triple G, really fan-friendly type of fight style, action-packed. Number 3, Terrence Crawford, 32-0. I think there's a big difference in the way that they promote boxing and MMA. MMA, they just throw you right the fuck in there. Whereas in boxing, they build you up a little bit slower, and you have
we see it all the time
because
because we get guys that we see for like 2-3 fights and they're like, I'm going pro.
But these are
like you've only fought like 3 times.
These are guys. Those top 3 guys alone, you should look at some highlights. Terrence Crawford, amazing fighter. Keith Thurman is in there. Saul Canelo Alvarez looks like.
You know who I follow from boxing on Instagram?
Who's that?
Shannon Briggs.
Okay, former heavyweight champion.
Everything's like, let's go, champ, and he just threatens everybody everywhere.
Yeah. Errol Spence Jr. just fought this past weekend. Actually, stopped Lamont Peterson, great fighter. Mikey Garcia, amazing. Sergey Kovalev, the Crusher.
He's good too.
Very good, very friendly fighter for fans. And Deontay Wilder rounding out the top 10, who is a heavyweight champion from America. Please, please, please check out Deontay Wilder. Amazing fighter. And it's really cool to see. That just goes to show the skill level that Deontay Wilder has, that he's a heavyweight. Anytime you see a heavyweight in a pound for pound top 10 ranking,
you know he's good.
You know he's good.
Because most of those guys are just known for power.
Well, because they're big. Yeah,
because they're heavy.
But I really would like to talk more about boxing as
we're going to start doing it more.
And
but you know why? Because you want to.
I do,
and I'm your friend.
And I think
I'm your friend.
Okay.
So, what do people need to do?
Please share the show.
Like the show, share the show.
Like the show, share the show.
Check us out at Extreme Cage Combat on February 3rd at the Philadelphia Arena.
Please go on to iTunes and give us a good review.
It means the world.
Well, more than that,
we've been doing this how many years?
6 or 7, I think.
7 years.
Yeah, 7.
Right?
Well,
213 episodes.
It'll be 7.
We've put a lot of effort into this, and I think we've put out a good product at this point.
I think we have everything there in place. We just need to basically get eyeballs and ear holes on us.
We need support, and it means a lot. Just take a second, share us from iTunes. Just share us from Stitcher. If you know a friend that might like us, share it with them.
Go on iTunes. Give us a good review. That is the number one thing.
Check out Ref Tattoo. Check out Dads in Cargo Shorts. Check out Philly Comedy Club. Check out Extreme Cage Combat. Find us on outofpocketnetwork.com. Anywhere else, Todd?
I think that's it.
You can find us everywhere. And you know what? Fucking share the show, fuckers.
I didn't hit record. I'm just kidding. I used to get him so
Share the show. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.